Welcome to another episode of Design with Pam. Today we're going to be creating this account details page that shows a user's target savings account details. So let's say they're saving for school, vacation, phone, sewing machine, and all of that. And they can also see other products here fixed in their fixed income savings, and they can see the maturity date and the duration they have gotten to. And all of this, we're going to design it in Figma, and I'm going to share my design approach, what I think about, why I choose certain colors, and why I choose certain fonts, and all my thought process why coming up with this screen. So yeah, let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to do is to select a frame. So we're going to be using an iPhone 13 mini. So go to this toolbar section and select frame, and go select the 13 mini iPhone. So I'm going to rename my frame to be account details. Now I'm going to import this here. Then I'm going to create another frame where I have my title page. I'm going to go to frame and select the frame and create a frame here. So my height, I like leaving it at 42. Right, so this frame here is more like my title section where I title my page. So I'm going to click T on the keyboard and type account details. Right, so I'm going to leave it at 16, and I am going to make it a heavy. I'm going to chuck it into my frame here. Make sure it's center aligned and it is also aligned vertically. Alright, so this icon here, we get it from Hero Icon. Just go to plugins and go to Hero Icon and find this navigation icon. Alright, so let's not forget we must use our grid lines. So for our grid line, we have the style here. So you can check my other videos to see the particular grid line, the style that I'm using for my grid lines, and all the settings I did. So I'm going to also click on T on my keyboard, and I am going to type the next thing we have here, which is target savings. All right, but I'm going to reduce the font here a little bit. I'm going to make the font a 15. So my idea of making the font a 15 here is because, you know, it's also a title, but I made it heavy, so it's actually very noticeable when you come on your page, on this account details page. But I don't want it to be as big as this title that we have going on here, right? So I left it at 14, which is great. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create all of this thing going on here, all those shapes here. I'm going to click F on my keyboard to activate the frame tool, and I'm going to drag a frame, create a frame here. So I'm going to be creating the frame within these two columns here, these grid lines here rather, right, which will give me a width of up to 155. So let's just ensure that it's snapped into the grid line here. Yes, it gives a 166 really. So another thing is I'm going to change the background color of my frame. Right, I'm going to take this and pick the color that I use here. The color I use here is F9, F8, F6, FC. Right, it's close to white, but at the same time it enables me to use white frames or white rectangles on my design, and it's going to be visible, right? So I'm going to go ahead and add a few color to my frame here. So the height of the frame is actually, I'm using a 138. This is okay. So how did I create this thing going on here? What I did was I used this tool here, this pen tool. Not the pencil tool, the pen tool. Once we get our pen tool, just click P here or come to this pen tool here, and then get your pen tool because we're going to draw a shape now. So I'm going to just click on my mouse here, click the next place I want it to stop, click the next place I want it to stop, click the next place I want it to stop, click the next place I want it to stop, click the next place again. And then I have something. Oh, it's not the same shape. But you know, it's somewhere close. It's actually close. Maybe I can close them out of this thing. But anyway, you can keep trying till you get it better. But I'm going to go back, right click on it to activate the edit mode here. Double click, and I'm going to go and add a fill color here. I'm going to choose the color, take the pen tool and choose this color that we have here. You can copy color code here. All right, I'm holding on to my shift just to reduce it a bit, and I don't want the stroke going around it. This whole black thing, I'm going to shut it out here. All right, so let's get an image. So the icons that we used in all of this just depict the occasion. This is school, so I use a graduation icon. So for vacation, you can change the icon, right? For sewing machine, find a new icon for sewing machine. Same thing as phone, but just know the user is saving for all of this. I'm going to right click and then go to plugin, go to hero icon. No, I don't think I can find that in hero icon. I'm just going to go to iconify. And then iconify, we have this. I'm just going to type school or graduation, we do the magic. All right, so school did the magic here. I'm going to import this icon here, and I'm going to chuck it into this vector that I created. I'm going to select the both of them, and I'm going to group it. Right click on my mouse and group it. Then I'm going to go to the selection colors here while I'm selecting what I grouped, and then I'm going to change it to white. Please pardon me. You can form this. I formed the shape here, you know, it looks nice. Then you can create it yourself. All right, so I'm going to click on T on my keyboard and I'm going to type school. But I am going to reduce it to a medium. I'm still using a 14, a size 14. Okay. Then I'm going to click T on my keyboard again, and I'm going to write target. But for these targets, you know, I'm going to use a different color. No, let's just pick the color here. So the color I'm using is this color here. You can copy the color code, and I'm going to reduce the font to A12, and I'm going to do the same thing and type, you know, our user is saving 20 million in Naira. So I'm taking the Naira icon sign that we have here, but I'm going to change this to be black. Black isn't too much, I think it's okay, but I'm going to increase the font a bit to a 14. No, let's leave it at a 13. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave this here. Make sure that the spacing from the top and the bottom, I think a 14 is okay. Then I'm going to select these two, click on Shift A. I'm going to increase the spacing between them to a 32, and I'm going to center this. Right. Let's get this icon here. This option icon here. So I bring it here and I'm going to change the color. This, you can see this is not in our frame. I'm going to chuck it back into the frame, and I'm going to change the color. Take this color and go to color picker, zoom in and pick the color. So this is the color we're using here. It's same color that we use for target here, right? But I'm going to reduce it a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and select the shape, this vector shape that I have here, and the icon, and create an auto layout. Then I'm going to center it. Sorry, still not in our frame, right? So I'm going to put it in our frame. Then I'm going to center it. Then I'm going to take this one, this frame that I have here, select school, and then create an auto layout. The spacing that we have here is, let's give it an 8, right? Because we have other things going on here. So to create this thing that shows progress level here, what I did was click on R on my keyboard and create a rectangle. I left the width to be 128 and the height I just left it at a 7, but I rounded the corners down to 100. So I'm going to select the rectangle itself and I'm going to click Ctrl C, Command C, Command V just to duplicate it on itself. Then you can see them here. This is the first rectangle and this is the second one. So I'm going to make sure I select the one on top of it and I'm going to reduce it a bit, right? Then I'm going to take my color, select the color and go to the color picker and select this color. I'm going to select the second rectangle and use the same color. However, I'm going to reduce the opacity here, right about here. Right, so another thing I would like us to do is to click on this text here and reduce the font to a 12. Let's make it an 11. Right, okay, so we're getting there. So I wanted to I'm also going to create this thing here to show that, oh, you're at this point, right? To show emphasis at that point. So I'll click on O on my keyboard and hold on to Shift, then drag the shape, right? And I'm going to place it on this rectangle, right? And I'm going to select the color green and I'm going to just like find a shade that is a bit darker than the one that is there. And I'm also going to reduce the opacity of this one more. Zoom in and then position it very well. Let's reduce this a bit. All right, so I'm going to select all of this shape, this new shape I created, hold on to my Shift key, select the first rectangle one, right click and then group selection. So once I've grouped this selection, I'm going to select the group and select this other frame here that I've grouped everything, and then I'm going to create an auto layout. Then I'm going to select this upper one too and create an auto layout. So the spacing here that we have is 17 and the spacing that we have here between these two items is 8. Spacing we have here is 8. Then let's make this spacing here 18. Then I'm going to make sure that it is centered and it is vertically aligned. All right, so let's close our layout grid so you can see what we've created so far. All right, so I'm going to take this I'm going to click on the frame and hold on to my option key and I'm going to duplicate it, select the first one, select the second one and create an auto layout. Go back and put on my grid lines so that I will be sure that this is centered. So the spacing here, let's make it an 18. Nope, let's make it a 16 and we're good to go. Everything is aligned right on the grid lines that we have. All right, okay, so I'm going to duplicate this again, select the both of them and create a spacing of 16. Create an auto layout, select this frame here, this whole thing here, click on Ctrl C or Command C and Command V to duplicate, but we don't need another duplicate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it up to you to fill up the section here, change the colors that we have here, change the color, change the text, the phone savings and all of that. Okay, so the next thing is to do this other section here. So I'm going to click on T on my keyboard and I'm going to type fixed income savings. But I'm going to make it the same with this other one. This is a font for 14 and I'm going to make it heavy. We can also make it a font 16. Okay, so let me align the spacing that we have here. I'm selecting the both of them. The spacing is too much. A 24 is great. So between these two, let's also leave it at 24. All right, so I'm going to click F on my keyboard to draw a frame, another frame, right? So but this frame, I'm going to add a fill color to be white, and the size of this frame, so for the size of this frame, I'm going to make it a 327, and for the height, I'm going to leave it at 136. So let's leave this as 326. All right, so I'm going to round the corners with an 8. 8 is good. So I'm going to make sure the spacing between the two is a 24 still. 24 is okay. Then I'm going to go ahead to add this text here. Type T on your keyboard and type fix 001. So this is like a title of the fixed income, like the code for the fixed income, this particular fixed income. And I'm going to leave it, reduce it to a medium. All right, so I'm going to click on T again and just type the subtext that we have here, which is Hello Dreams Limited. Let's say that that's the company that is selling the bond or this particular fixed income. All right, but what I'm going to do is, for this one, I'm going to change the color, or rest, should we change the color? So I'm going to change it to a Roman, because I don't want it to be, and I'm going to change the font to a 12. Or let's keep it at 10. Right, so I'm going to click on T on my keyboard and type 365 days. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to increase the font to a 14, and I'm going to make it heavy, the weight to be heavy, and I'm going to create an auto layout between these two. Then click T on my keyboard again and type this text that we have at the amount 10,000 a month. All right, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to create an auto layout for this text here. Click on shift A, and then I'm going to reduce this horizontal padding to be, let's give it a 4. Vertical padding, let's give it a 2. Horizontal padding, let's give it a 6. Right, so I'm going to round the corners a lot, and I'm going to go and add a fill. I'm going to select it, just color pick. Okay, so let's make this one an 8. Right, so we're going to change the color for the text to the same purple here. All right, so I'm going to go and look for our Naira sign, and I'm going to type, just paste it here, replace it here. Yes, so I'm going to select this 2 here and create an auto layout. Select the first and the second one, create another auto layout. The spacing between the two, I want it to be a 12. 12 might be too, 12 is okay. Then I'm going to click a T and I'm going to type maturity date. Then I'm going to change the color. Let's just use the color picker here. I'm going to choose the color here, and I'm going to use, this is the color code I'm using, but I'm not making it heavy. I'm going to make it a medium, and I'm going to change the font size to a 12. I'm going to duplicate this and put my text 12.0. Okay, so I am going to select this and create an auto layout. Select the one on top, also add an auto layout, and make sure this is a 12. All right, so you already know how to create this shape here, this whole thing I have going on here. So I'm going to just copy this and paste it here. So I'm going to create an auto layout with it too and give this one a 14. Then I'm going to go to the alignment section and make sure this is aligned properly. All right, so you can go ahead and create this other one here. You can send it to my DM on Instagram. This is me, Pamela the designer. Send it to me on Instagram, then I can help to guide you or make corrections where necessary. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This will encourage me to continue creating design series, and that will help people. You can also share this video to someone you know it is going to benefit. Thank you for watching, and see you next design tutorial.